Hello, welcome to the House of Shenanigans on the great day of the eclipse. It's a big day. Has everybody got anything to say? All right, that was good. The We are playing a little bit of D&D. We're gonna have a little bit of fun. Does My name's Caleb, of course. I'm running the game. Gonna have a little bit of fun, as I said. What we're gonna do now? Does anybody want to give us a brief review? It can just hit the high points if you like of last game. Everybody roll a d20 and tell me what. Put it in the chat. Oh, this is fun. I will entertain you while they roll. Having a good time. Dancing at the eclipse, guys. I don't know if Eric's just laughing and just watching, trying to make me look like a jerk. All right. So, Matt, you got the best roll. Will you give us a recap, please?
Sure thing. So, last time, let me just open my little journal here. It's been a couple of weeks. Need to refresh the old mind. But we had a good bit of fun last time. We were doing all sorts of things with all sorts of mechanical stuff. We were in a tower, albeit that we had come in the back door, which was hidden in a well, and getting in that door was quite the achievement, as it required having invitations and all sorts of things, but we eventually did get in. And once we got in, there was basically why we were there is we were hunting down this jerk of a woman whose voice kept on resounding through something like a loudspeaker system and mocking us and taunting us, trying to get us to play in her disco games. And we were more concerned about our party member's health. She had kidnapped both someone in our party and someone from the guild, and we were concerned about their safety. And so we went after them, and basically we found that we found this strange sort of crossroad kind of thing, and we had to choose which way we were going to go, and there was a riddle with a white way and a red way, and we got stuck a little bit with that. And then, yeah, we had to fight some mechanical creatures. There was a mechanized owlbear, a mechanical spider with 8 eyes, and the mechanized unicorn, all of which this woman, Arlette, she was controlling. And we could actually, with some of the powers that our characters had, we could actually hear her through them, or through the connections that were going on. Eventually, though, we did defeat the mechanical beings, and I'm doing all this out of order, actually, aren't I? But that's okay. We came across a beaker with a minuscule amount of blue liquid. and we didn't really. I don't know whether we understood the full purpose of that beaker, but we got it, and what else? We went back and restored Uther with it, which was great. He recovered, and we, for the first time, saw him weak and flawed after coming out of his paralysis. And the last thing that happened was that there was this secret corridor that was opened, and that a halfling, I didn't write comprehensive notes about this, but a halfling was flushed out from the storage there, and the milestone that we've been using to gain in power has disappeared, or has gone down this corridor and has been closed off from us.
Yeah, and just to kind of fill in some of the spots, Gardain and Craig were the two members who were captured. They were in the seats, and when you did the little puzzle with the red and white doors, every time you'd go through a door, one of them got pulled further and further back. Eventually, you guys went through, chose the white door, which Craig actually told you to do, saving Gardain, but causing Craig to fall into this abyss. And before Gardain could get to it, the floor clicked up and he was gone. Also, when you fought Arlet's standards, which were the mechanized robots, there was also a giant column in the middle of the room that seemed to pulse as a heartbeat. The red color on your pendant disappeared briefly and then came back. You guys, everything else was good. You guys went back when you saved Uther. You guys had found out that Craig was already there. You went to interact with Craig a little bit, and he seemed to be acting a little bit out of sorts, maybe. And that last scene, Craig was actually the one holding the milestone as he opened that door. And it looks as though Craig has maybe betrayed the guild and taken that milestone down that hidden corridor. Much like the body on the first day that you guys got to the stockade, when you guys went down to Uther's office, Argaz went over, and the Argaz, the small fairy dragon, the one you'd been traveling with, basically brought the mind of Ulthane back to his body, and his body was contained in one of these liquid stasis chambers, and he was flushed out, and there was Ulthane on that first day. And that's what Craig did, was he opened another one of those stasis chambers, and that's where the halfling kind of flushed out before Craig left with the milestone. And I think that, the other thing of important note, and we're going to actually pick up right at that very moment. Jules decided that, actually, he didn't decide. He had been beckoned back to the young man who lived in the town, and I don't remember what the name of that town was. It was near a hill somewhere with witches. Matt, do you remember?
I don't remember the name of the town just at the second, but it was a girl. Sorry.
It was a little girl. Sorry. Well, the point was that Jules had given her the lantern, and so yeah, I think we'll pick up right there. It's actually where Uther is kind of waving Jules off, and somebody, one of the messengers in the black cloak, walks up, to Uther and kind of hands him a little note. Uther pops it open, opens it up, looks at it, and he breathes real deeply. And he says, "She's never going to let us go." And kind of hands it back, and then turns back around. And coming up the path, since it is nighttime now, there is this odd creature in the distance. Well, let me tell you what you see, and then you tell me what we see. What you see is you see a tall man in a black robe, with a tabard that hangs over, red, black, blue. Clean shaven. His hair has grown down to about his shoulders now. What was it? A half elf, I believe, rides by on a horse. And you actually see this man kind of squinting through the darkness, and he sees you, and he actually waves and he beckons you closer. Matt, what's Uther looking at here?
Right. Kind of difficult to explain, but what Uther sees is a humanoid creature, albeit with a reddish brown fur that covers the creature's body, and it has a very it's almost a feline face, but not quite. It's almost triangular, with very long pointed ears, and one hand, the right hand, is a lot larger and blacker than the rest of him, and he has these strange, I guess, from a distance, it's hard to see whether they're just braids or what else they might be, but black lengths of hair that sprout from his face in various locations. So down from his chin, and there are 8 other locations where these sort of long black braids or whatever they are coming down from his face. He looks lithe, not necessarily muscular, but he's not naked either. He's dressed in leathers, and he is carrying or around his neck. You see a totem of sorts, especially when he gets closer, and it's hard to see from a long distance away. But there are different representations of different animals that are etched with what seems like a knife into this long wooden totem around this creature's neck, and the totem goes all the way down to his navel. So it's quite long, and each creature, each animal that's etched in is maybe under an inch high, and there's space on the bottom of the totem for more creatures to be etched in. But there's representations of elk, all sorts of different things, and each one is painted in red, blue, and black on a varying, red, then blue, then black, then red, then blue, then black, all the way down the totem.
Awesome. Yeah. So you walk all the way up to Uther, and he sees you, and he says, Cajun. It's good to see you. I think I actually have, well, let's get inside. and he kind of opens, has the door opened and everything like that, and he walks in. And as he's kind of walking, he says, "We've got a little bit of disturbing news. Go in, make yourself at home. You know where the dorms are. We'll be able to talk in a little bit. I'm going to have to get some people together first."
Cajun will nod. He sort of nods at everyone that's around, and he looks, I don't know, a bit wild, like he doesn't really understand etiquette or anything like that. I'm just going to really quickly screen share right there what he looks like, so that everyone has a bit of an idea, and you can make your reactions from there. But yeah, he nods and he'll go off just as Uther says.
Perfect. So yeah, so he kind of lets you in, and as you're walking through, you see there's already, I don't know, a little bit of a crowd sort of amassing by an elevator. You've been to the Stockade before, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. So by Uther's elevator, there's actually a little bit of a gathering there, which is a little less than normal for you. You see Siren, who I would say that you're probably, of the known heroes at the guild, Craig, Bravo, Uther, and Siren. They're kind of the A team. You know Siren better than most. And she is this beautiful woman who has her hair pulled back, and it almost looks like it's fanned around her head. But she's just got so much hair, this beautiful blonde. And she wears these furs and things like that all over her. But you kind of pick her out, and she sees you, and she waves at you and calls you over.
Cajun will straighten himself up a bit, arch back his head, and lumber over. It's got quite a lumbering gait, and he'll wander over to her and say, "Siren, he's only been at the guild once before. Just as a quick note, he comes from a different guild from far away, and he was once sent here as an emissary to bring a message from that other guild of peace and a cooperation on a much larger matter. And he was the messenger that came, and so he's unfamiliar with exactly where he is because he doesn't really remember very well, but he does remember her, and perhaps he and her worked on whatever that was together, and he would say, it seems I have transferred.
Well, it's very nice to have you here. It's good to see you again." And as she's moving, she reaches out her hand to shake your hand, and her head turns, and her hair almost floats up like it's in water. And it's kind of, every time she moves her head and her hair moves, it almost moves in slow motion as if it's suspended in some sort of liquid.
Cajun holds out his much larger hand and sort of holds it over hers. He doesn't really know, and then she grabs onto one of the fingers with her hand because her fingers are quite dainty compared to his, and just moves it up and down, and he's like, and he moves his head up and down as his hand moves up and down. Like,
Have you
it's nice to see you too.
have you spoken to Uther yet?
He said, "Come in here."
Oh, perfect. Well, I'm not sure if you remember, and kind of snaps her fingers in the sky, and one of the little messengers walks over and says, "If you would please show him to the dormitory," and snaps her fingers again, and there's a messenger over in the corner who you would actually see, Cajun, who she's clearly snapping at this one, and this messenger is just like looking at her and like somewhat being insubordinate, like, what? Oh, and hesitantly, after a couple more snaps, and she comes, finally the messenger comes over, and Siren says, one day, one day. And she almost leans in to say something, and then pulls back and just kind of looks up, and it's like, ugh, and just kind of takes some steps away. Uther comes in now with everybody around, um, and walks up, and Uther's standing there next to you, seeing Siren walk off, and says, so he, pointing to the first messenger, is going to show you where the dorms are. And he leans over and he kind of looks, and the hood that all of these messengers wear is kind of blocking the face of this one for a moment. And he sits there and kind of leans in, and this messenger doesn't even turn and look, just kind of stares straight ahead, kind of at Siren. And he leans in and he says, excuse me. And
Cajun doesn't really know that he's being spoken to.
Uther's not talking to you. He's talking to the messenger.
All right.
What?
And almost the exact same exacerbated sigh. And he goes and he reaches for the back of the hood and kind of tugs on it a little bit, and it pulls the hood back. And what does Cajun see here?
In front of you, it is it's very odd wearing this hood that I'm wearing. It's actually not a part of my cloak. It is literally just a hood of its own to hide my face and my ears. And my ears pointed up, and as he pulls the hood off, my ears lay back. And then as I calm down, they come back up, and you see the tufts of hair come off of them. My entire face is furry, but the clothes that I wear are very tight-fitting to make my head look disproportionately large to my entire body. My fluffy, tabby-colored fur, mottled of oranges and yellows, and my eyes match that golden yellow, the whiskers coming away from my face. And I go, looking over, almost as if the same reaction of him reaching up to remove my hood, I'm giving the same reaction as if he had tried to pet me.
Critter. And he kind of leans in to you, Cajun, and says, I was going to have him carry your bags, but he's not going to. And he snaps another finger and runs over a good messenger who picks up whatever pack or bags or sacks or whatever you may have, and pulls out a card from his waistband and hands it to you, and then walks off with your stuff. And it's on it. It looks like it's a number which indicates what dorm you're staying in. It says, Critter, now I really, really, really need you to be polite this is one of our new members. I need you to treat him with the same respect that you show to the. I need you to treat him with more respect than you show anybody, please.
And as I breathe out real hard from my nose, this critter stands at a good 6'2", super like gangly body, and it continues. The sleeves come all the way down to Critter's paws, and the paws get real fluffy outside of what he's wearing. And even at his feet, not even wearing boots, it gets real fluffy at his feet. His head's furry out to here, except for the super tight clothes. Critter looks at you. Fine.
Now, Critter, could you do me a favor? Please.
Critter looks at him. Of course, Uther.
If you would please, I need you to gather up a couple of the other pages and have everybody sweep the stockade and have them all meet by the drill yard. I want to go over some disturbing news, but I need everybody there.
You want the pages to sweep?
What I need, Critter, is I need all of the messengers and the pages to go find all of the members of the guild and get everybody down to the drill yard. See, sweep is a term. Don't worry about it.
Yes. All right. I will round up everyone and have them sweep.
Right. At the drill yard. Everybody at the drill yard.
Sweep the drill yard.
Yeah, make sure everybody is there to watch you sweep the drill yard, Critter.
And at this, Critter's eyes get a little bit bigger. Gets a hold of himself again. All right. Critter steps and
and you see almost like he was tense and like leaning forward a little bit, like somehow trying to nudge Critter to what he was asking him to do. And once Critter walks off, you can see him relax a little bit. And he leans in and he says, "Go get yourself comfortable. I've kind of got an announcement that I need to make. If you could meet us in the drill yard, it's in the center of the stockade. You remember where it is, right?" Talking to Cajun here.
Oh, yes.
Perfect. Okay. And Uther kind of walks in, the crowd sees him coming, and they all part. And he walks over to the elevator and steps in, and he turns around, and he just looks at everybody, and he presses the button, and down the elevator goes. What are Gardain and Ulthane doing?
Sleeping off a drunk.
Sounds about right.
Disappointed. What, Craig didn't join us?
Very good. Well, and you see a couple of these guys, the pages and the messengers, come in, and they pull back their hoods and everything, and they, make an announcement, which this isn't the first time that you guys have had to meet somewhere for Uther to make an announcement. So they just kind of say, "Everybody to the drill yard. Uther has an announcement." And they're kind of stepping into the dorm and announcing it to a couple of the double rooms and things like that. And then they step back out.
The whole thing kind of goes, well, kind of looking at his glaive resting on his shoulder. You know, still somewhat having a bottle of ale in his hand. He gets up and he goes, I guess. His brother is asleep. He looks over and kicks his feet. He was like, get up. Got to go to the yard. Apparently there's a new announcement.
I hit my head on my bed because I crawled under it. And I was very slowly scoot out. And I said, what announcement? Is the war over?
No, he's going to announce that there's a pretty rainbow going across the sky, and there's a beautiful elf maiden. And he just shivers at that. He goes, there's a nice hefty dwarf woman standing outside waiting for us to come home.
Oh, I set up and smoothed my beard out. You ain't playing with me, are you, bro? And I started getting ready.
Cool. So everybody kind of gets down to the drill yard. People that you've seen throughout are there. Obviously, Siren's there. The Brewman is there. Rosalind and Sorrow are there. The Tinker is there. The triplets are there. Everybody's there. 3 people aren't there. Conspicuous by his absence, you don't see Craig. You don't see Bravo, but she said she was on vacation. And you don't see Uther yet. And so, obviously Gardain and Ulthane are next to each other. Roland is there. And I would say that those 3 are probably sitting near each other. An open spot occasion you find to kind of sit down, because this is a big, you would almost say like the food court surrounds the drill yard, and then all the shops are in the spaces just beyond that, and then kind of forming an outer ring are all of these black robed messengers and pages and Critter. Obviously that's where you would stand, and I would say that it's even possible that you're trying to like muscle your way forward and trying to stand next to some of the members of the guild, and they always kind of look at you and you just look at them, and one of them is like, just kind of puts his hands up and backs off, so that instead of standing in that outer ring, you're actually standing on the peripherals of the members themselves. And finally, there's a lot of chatter, and one of the sides kind of parts paths, and Uther's walking through, and next to Uther is a short little halfling. And he makes his way to the middle of the drill yard, and he looks over at his children, and he kind of gives them a wave, and underneath him comes this illusory, almost pedestal that raises him up so that he's at the same level, because you guys remember the drill yard, it's kind of down in a pit, and he's standing and he's looking at everybody, and he says, members, I have an announcement to make. It seems we have lost, misplaced, or at worst, it has been stolen. The milestone is gone now, and there are some rumblings and things like that throughout the crowd. Says, now, for those of you who are new, what the milestone does is it allows this guild to continue our ventures forth, helping to save those who cannot save themselves, to protect those who need it, and of course to collect on when a payment is due. But it has It is no longer with us, and it looks like there may have been a little bit of sabotage. We don't know all the details yet, but I thought that it would be best that I share this news with you. And he kind of spins around for a second, and he sees the halfling standing there. He kind of waves him up, and this halfling crawls. And what you see when you see this is this kind of raggedy, unshaven. He's got a weird hair pattern. He can't grow a full beard. His stuff's coming in splotchy. He's got these ears that are pointed up, but they have clearly been snipped. His clothes are trash. Ulthane Gardain, this is worse than what Roland looked like the first time you met him. If Roland lived in a cave, this guy lived in a puddle. Like, he looks rough. You can even see he's dirty. His hair is kind of matted, maybe greasy. There's something in it, and he's standing there and he's looking at all of you, and he's kind of giving everybody a side eye. He's clearly uncomfortable. He keeps kind of turning around and looking over his shoulder and seeing everybody. Uther extends his arms out. He says, "Members, this is a new member who has been with us for a very long time. Now, that might be confusing. We have had him," and he kind of looks down, and he looks up and he starts to say something. He's had his own special room, and it's for everyone's safety. Your safety, my safety, his safety. He's not dangerous, I promise. But he is with us now, and I want everybody to make him feel as at home as possible. You will all have your chance to meet him. And he kind of looks back down and he waves his hand, and almost before he can wave his hand, you already see this halfling climbing off of this, and he turns and he walks, and as he walks back towards the crowd parts and kind of gives him his space, and he's just kind of hunched over, his shoulders up, and he seems on edge, and he just walks back through. We're going to send out some reconnaissance teams to maybe find some leads. As of now, we don't have much. So please, if your number is called, we may have you just go out on some investigatory missions to at least try and point us in a direction that we can go so that we can find this. As you know, the milestone has not always been with us, so we will continue to operate even without it, but we will stay in search of it. If you have any questions, please write them on parchment, give it to a messenger. They will bring it to me, and we will get you an answer as soon as possible. Thank you so much. We will be in contact. And the platforms lower back down to where he's on the ground, and he walks off back through the crowd to his elevator and goes down. Is there anything that you guys would like to do in an interaction? Otherwise, I'm going to skip ahead a couple days.
No, Cation will just nod and look around, and he'll probably go and chat to Siren, but just to catch up, nothing vital to roleplay.
Cool. So a couple days later, let's see. Ulthane, you're actually walking through the common area, the food court type place, and you see Roland in the corner, and he's again kind of perfecting this stitching pattern on just some loose cloth that he's working on. And you see a messenger walk over to him and kind of tap him and slide him something, and Roland opens it up, folds it back up, it stands up, grabs his stuff, and kind of heads over towards the elevator. At the same time, you see another messenger walk over, and there's a couple other guys sitting at a table, and the messenger lays one down for each of them. They open up and walk off. Gardane, you're sitting in one of the mini bars. I assume it's like Bourbon Street. And you're in one of the mini bars here, and same thing. You see one of the messengers come in, and he lays down a card to the guy that you're talking to that's sitting next to you, and another one comes in and lays down for somebody else, and they both get up and take off. Critter, you are actually given a letter to go deliver to Cajun.
I will take the letter. I will stroll. It is no hurry to where I need to go. People may speak to me. Somebody might say hi to me. I'm aloof. I really am. It's not that I'm unaware. It's that I really just don't have the time.
And actually, a couple of messengers get their envelopes after you, and you see them go out to a spot. They pass you, and kind of get around you and get to wherever they're going. And you see them actually coming back the same way, and you just kind of, give them a nod. And then again, they have another one, and they pass you again. They've lapped you at this point. And this time, Ulthane, one walks up to you and hands you one. And Gardane, another one comes in and sets one by you, and they both get up and or they both hand it to you. As soon as you acknowledge them, they walk away.
Take the paper.
Cool. So as you kind of open it up, it's just a summons to Uther's office.
Looking over at my brother, I said, "I'm sure you got the same thing, yeah?"
Oh, Gardane pick the letter up and pick the piece of paper up and look at it.
Yep, same thing.
So nope, he actually said this one. Mine actually says I've been raised up in rank. You didn't get one? Too bad.
I look at him. I go, that is a bold-faced lie. Let me see your paper.
I'm not supposed to show it to nobody.
That is a bold-faced. You show me your paper. I follow Eifert. I am a harder worker than you.
Critter, you just let me know when you get there.
Cool, I'm there.
Okay, great. So you knock on the door, and Cajun's inside.
No, not even. I won't even knock. I'll just open it. If it's locked, then I slide it under, assuming that I've done the right thing.
Cajun would not have his door locked at all.
I open up, see you, focused on you, walk right up to you, set it down beside you, turn my body, then turn my head and walk off.
You just hear a grunt. and then as you're out of the door and almost too far away, you hear oh, thanks.
I don't even shut your door when I leave.
Yeah.
Great. So you pop this thing open, and it's same thing. It's just a summons to the to Uther's office. Yours actually has a little brief drawing of like directions.
Yeah, I'll Cajun puts the map out in front of him and turns it around a couple of times to face the correct direction that he's looking. And every time that he comes to an intersection, he'll like turn and then turn the paper to face the direction that he's looking.
Perfect. So as all of you guys kind of make your way down the elevator, it opens up, and in the front area of his office, it's kind of mishmash together. Some seating has been brought down, and there's, you know, maybe 25 different heroes that are sitting around, just kind of displaced. And there's a one of the what would be considered first in command messengers, the private pluses, whatever you'd call them, and they are wearing black robes, very similar to the pages, except they have the a little circle with a red, black, and blue signet kind of embossed into the middle of it. One of them steps forward and reads off 4 names, and 4 of them kind of stand up and walk over towards the door and walk in. They were all sitting next to each other, so it opened up a couple of seats, and then another one from the right side comes out and reads off 4 more names, and again, a group of 4 kind of stands up together and walks in. Last, the one on the right reads off 6 names, and all 6 of them stand up and go off in another direction. And so now, what was 20 people is now the, 6 people left, something like that. And peculiar thing is, you go, Critter, to hand your next one. The guy at the desk, again, he has one of those embossed logos. He takes it and he opens it up and folds it up, and before he actually closes it in the envelope, he pulls it back out and looks at it, and he looks up at you, and he just lays it out and spins it around and turns it towards you.
My eyes get real big. There's a tassel on it. Are you sure this is for me? This pointing at the tassel, not the card. This is mine. Put my hand on it and slowly begin to pull it before he can even answer.
Got your name on it, Critter. And he kind of turns to the side and he points at the door and he says, "Go take a seat." And as you're playing with this thing on the way out the door, he's just sitting there with the envelope, and he opens the next one. And he doesn't even look at it for a second. He just kind of lays it down and looks at you as you go out through the door.
And I'm reading it, flicking the tassel.
Yeah, and it's a summons. And so you guys are sitting in this waiting room type area, this makeshift thrown together. And you see the 4 that just got called walk out, another 4 walk out, the 6 walk out. And then the first one walks, the messenger says, "All right," and reads the names off. Ulthane Gardain. This one actually has Roland, and it has Rosalind's name. And then it says Siren. So Cajun, that would make a name you would recognize. And sure enough, there's kind of walk out of the corner of the room that wasn't very well lit, and they walk on ahead. The one comes out of the door to the side to the left, and there's only the 4 of you sitting in here now. And he reads off each of your names. Gardain, Ulthane, and he kind of holds it back a little bit and then pulls it close. and then he looks to the side and it's, oh, Cajun and Critter.
And I purr.
And he folds it up and puts it in his pocket and opens the door and says, are you sure about this? And you just hear Uther's voice from inside. Bring him in. So he opens the door and kind of is ushering you guys into the room.
Looking at look at the two new guys, or the other ones. He kind of then looks back to his brother and he goes, "I will talk to Uther about this promotion you have given that he obviously did not give the harder working brother. You will hear of this." Just kind of like just looking at it.
Well, one day, just one day, and I'll turn to look at the other two. Hello.
I walk past you into the room and find the sunniest spot and stand in the square.
Cajun nods and then nods upwards and looks at you and says, hello.
We don't want to be late, and I'll walk on in.
I said, yes, we don't want to be late. I walk in right, just like almost pushing my brother in.
So everybody gets in, and Uther is sitting behind a desk, not his desk, because it looks like maybe they had added security and built a false wall to kind of separate his office from wherever you guys are. And he kind of ushers everybody to a seat, looks at Critter, and he sees you standing in the one sunny spot from the window. And he just starts to kind of point you towards your seat, and then he just, and sits there and says, all right, guys, you may not have had a whole lot of time to catch up. Cajun, you've only been here a couple of days. This is Ulthane and Gardane. They've been with us a few months now. They've actually accomplished a good amount. So based on what you've accomplished, you guys, I feel like, should pair well together. You suffer about the same rank as one another, which I thought that would make everything synergize very nicely. And for those of you who don't know, the friend that's sunbathing himself, his name is, well, we call him Critter. I imagine that's what he would probably want you to do as well. He's been a page messenger around here for quite some time. He's seen a lot of heroes come and go. And he actually reaches under his desk and pulls out a little wooden box and slides it towards the end of the table. And he taps the top of it, looking at you, Critter. And he says, we've got some exciting news.
I hold myself with a lot of self-importance, but you can hear from his voice, or from what he said, that I've never been anything more than a message carrier.
He sees you, and again, he taps on the top of the box.
I reach down and fiddle with it to open it.
And when you pop it open, there's a little insignia inside, and on it is a red, black, and blue striped pattern.
I take it and reach up, hook it up to the collar of my leathers, and it hangs there.
So, as I announced a couple of days ago, we're going to send a couple of people out on some reconnaissance mission. While we do that, we need to continue our regular business as well. Luckily for us, Bravo got back from vacation. I sent her out to see if she couldn't find any leads for us, and she found something that looked promising. We had mapped the area. It's not too far from here, but she said there was a strange rock formation. It happened to be very close to the city of Horizon. And that odd rock formation could be something that comes through a distorted use of the milestone. So what we're going to have you do is we're going to send you to a job that's in Horizon. And if you guys have time, I'd like for you to investigate that rock formation.
Old thing goes, you want us to investigate a rock?
So in the past, the city of Horizon is very well known for its plantations and crops, and the soil is very fertile, and the area is flat, not mountainous. This rock formation, it's never been there before.
Very well.
And so, again, priority is to take care of the job. Secondary is to investigate the formation.
We can do this.
As soon as you say that, he kind of pulls the scroll case and he pops it open and pulls out the scroll, and he lays it out on the desk. And on it, it reads, to the Heroes Guild. Please, crops dying, invaders, assistance is needed, payment inside. And then at the bottom, what does it say? Then it just has a stamp on it, and the stamp says Mayor Thindon Bunn.
Sniff again and nod with self-importance.
Well, alrighty.
He says, perfect, good. Now, since you guys may not be aware of this, but since Bravo came back from vacation, Craig has actually gone on vacation. So the usual means of transportation is out, but you can hit the stables in West Rock, and they should be able to get you some nice horses to be able to get you there. It's not very far. What do you say?
I'll look at him. Does it look like I can ride a horse?
Can you ride a horse?
I said, don't worry. A jackass he can ride.
I never would never. How far?
And Uther, almost a little dumbfounded from them maybe never have riding a horse, and then you say what you said, and he just turns and looks at you like, what did I do? What have I gotten myself into?
I am more than proficient to riding a horse. Even though dwarves have a deep fear of horses, however, unlike my brother, have gotten over the fear of horses, and I have mastered my fear. Trying to almost make himself appear to be the obvious candidate over his brother.
Uther just turns back and is like, good, yeah, the horses at the stable, they don't, and he looks to Gardain, he says, they don't bite or anything.
I'm talking about the height. The horse is bigger than me.
I'm sure they have something that is suitable. I hope.
Don't
Don't worry.
worry. Don't worry. We'll get him there. We'll get him there.
Good. And Cajun, to answer your question, it's about 4 days down the path.
4 days. By horse?
Yes.
I learn, I suppose.
Okay. Critter, do you know how to ride a horse?
I prefer to walk.
Excellent. Everybody, get out of my office. Please go to Horizon, find Thinden, talk to him, see what information you can get. He has paid us a lot of money to investigate this, so please be thorough. Yes. Please leave.
Little thing stands up, looks at his brother. He says, "You scared of horses? Don't worry, brother. We'll get you over this fear."
And so you guys have been given the job. You have been given some coinage to pay for the horses themselves. There's an agreement between West Rock and the Heroes Guild, so you did not get like a chest full of gold. It was just vouchers for horses only, or stable money, free beer tickets.
Yeah.
And yeah, so at this point, it's just a little bit after breakfast, so surely the dwarves aren't too drunk yet.
I look at my brother. I think I'm losing the buzz. I think we might have to have one for the road.
You're right. Toot.
Occasion will try and speak with the horse to understand whether mine's being ridden. He's seen horses being ridden by others once or twice, but he's never considered riding one. I don't have the spell prepared to actually talk with it, so he would just, I don't know, try and discern its mood or whatever when it's being saddled.
It seems content. So I want to give you guys the option. You can either individually, the tickets or vouchers will give you 4 horses, or 2, or I should say, yeah, 4 standard riding horses, or 2 draft horses and a buggy.
Oh,
So you could go either way.
Critter would interrupt immediately and say that that's the buggy and 2 draft horses is perfect. She would prefer, or he would prefer that.
But yeah, the horses, draft horses or riding horses, none of them seem disappointed. There are large buckets of oats that just seem to be available to them.
Occasional, feel around where the connections are, where the saddles are, and where everything connects to the wagon thing, and he would just make sure that there are no blatant bruises. Obviously, there's wear,
Sure.
but just to see that they're not being mistreated, and then he would just be fine with it.
These are some big, beefy horses for sure. A standard riding horse is a sleek, kind of meant for speed. These things are brutes of horses for sure. You can see all the muscles under the hair.
All right. Yeah. Well, after making sure that we're okay, Cajun will go along for the ride.
I will come back with 2 mugs of ale. Look, we have a buggy. I don't have to ride. And I'll climb into the buggy and sit down drinking.
So who's driving the horse
I will.
and buggy?
I will.
I pushed my brother aside. I'll do it. I drove one into one. We're good.
All right. So there's plenty of seating in the buggy. Are you letting him ride by himself?
I will ride as well in the buggy.
All right.
I'll look at Critter. Do you drink? And I'll just kind of, furrow my brow and then start going back drinking. Can't trust a man that don't drink.
When he turns around and starts drinking, I'll reach into my leathers into a pocket and pull out a flask, a carved flask that's made of glass. Inside is a white liquid, and cork it, drink it, cork it back, and put it back in my pocket.
Great. So we're all on the horses and buggy. I want to give you guys a little bit of time to get to know your riding mates. So we'll say this is the first day that you guys are riding. You guys started before lunch. You had rations and things like that, and some salted meat and stuff. So you'll be able to camp out whenever you want to or stop to eat, whatever is convenient. But I wanted you guys to be able to get to know one another.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where are y'all from?
Cajun looks out at the landscape as it's passing by, and he throws out his hand, just gestures to the land that's passing by.
I see a man of the world. That's good. Like me. I'll turn and look at the cat. You?
What?
Well, this was an excellent talk, and I'll go drink another big gulp.
Aren't you interested about your own brother? Get off the horse.
Every time you talk, whole thing, Critter reacts very startled. It's very loud. Stares at you.
Well, they still like after a while he just starts ride driving the horse and carriage. He just starts singing aloud in Dwarvish, like just some drinking song.
As he's singing, Cajun will look across the buggy and will say, "Why scared of horse?"
I'm not scared of horses. But if you'll notice it, I don't even, I come up to maybe its leg. How am I going to climb on a horse?
Scared to ride horse?
No, not scared to ride one. Just I have to figure out how to get on it first.
Oh,
Looking over at you. It's easy. You put one leg over it. Pull yourself up and ride. Looking away.
And I'll look at him and then look at myself. Well, all right then. A celebration.
Cation will pull down his water flask from. He's got a sort of strap bandolier kind of thing, and he pulls out his water flask and he'll like hold it out to, and he'll sort of take a swig and he'll say, and you obviously see that it's not ale or anything like that. He's just drinking water. But he takes a sip as if he was making a toast.
I'll raise what's left of my last mug up to him. To your health.
He says, you ever been to Horizon?
No, I can't say I have.
Oh, you, and he'll ask everyone one by one.
Once, before I met Uther,
Cajun nods and says, big city, small city.
It's a small city.
Yeah. It's big enough. Large enough for a carnival.
Carnival. Oh. You have same skills? Oh, not same skills. Same experiences, not same experiences. You have worked the same by Uther. Uther says the same. He's trying to find a word, and he can't seem to find the word.
Are you all right?
Yes.
Good.
What skills do you have?
Oh. Well, and from out from under all the stuff we have packed on the cart. I pull out some long, thick, curved blades. I can use these. I'm hard to keep up with. I don't mean to brag, but I'm faster than most.
Faster, like a horse?
Sometimes faster. I do better at sprinting.
Oh. And you see Cajun's eyebrow raise when you say sometimes faster than a horse. Says, sprinting, blades, these your skills.
Well, yes. I'll reach down, pull out a blade, and this one is small and curved. The handle is just large enough for my hand to grab onto, and the blade is no more than 8 inches long, and it just is a solid curve. And the way that I hold it, it curves away from my hand. Looking at it, this is something that I've obviously spent a lot of time with, focused on, purchased. It is carved intricately with patterns. It is almost ornamental because of its value. It wasn't bought as an ornament. It's valuable to me. And, well, if I ever find her brother, and he looks off.
Cajun humps. He doesn't really know how to console or react. He says, the nature, the beasts of the land, hear my call. And I hold out my hands, and my staff is in my hands, and I'm holding it out, barely even holding on to it. Certainly not with any intent to use it. And you see Cajun's eyes close. You see his lips move, and all of a sudden, the quarterstaff seems to almost be moving in his hands, but he's not really holding on to it. And then you see that the movement is actually what looks to be insects crawling away from his hands and down the shaft of the staff in both directions. And all sorts of different insects and worms and creatures. He says, I speak and the beasts of the land listen.
Looking,
my people.
Go ahead.
My people, some were lost in the forms of the beasts, their souls taken, blackened, poisoned. Instead, I speak to the beasts, and they hear and they respond. I do not, and he shifts his head, like to take forms of the beasts. For I have seen my people's souls vanish, only when I have to, and only for short amounts of time.
Okay.
And then the movement of the staff sort of dies down. The insects seem to just crawl back into the staff as if they lived there the entire time, but there's no holes in it. There's no homes for them. They just sort of melt back in. He says, "These are my skills."
Is that useful?
You will see.
So you talk to beasts specifically of the field, not, and eyes go side to side with a paw.
You are no simple beast. You speak and have language. I speak of those who cannot speak for themselves. Beasts, but of the forest more than of other places.
And I take it that drinking is helping him. And somehow this one, by being loud, is getting stronger.
I know not. What are your skills? And he asks the others.
I'm a holy man. I guess about the best I could tell you is he's a holy warrior.
He looks at his brother and he goes, "That sounds about right."
Holy. You speak to the gods?
More like I get guidance from them, and they lend me their power.
I have heard of such gods. I have seen people use power for good and for ill. You use this power for good?
Yes.
Cajun nods. Why one loud and one not quite so loud?
He can't help himself. He has to be loud.
And he just snorts.
Very well.
I look over at Cajun, at that snort, and I go, I think he speaks to animals too.
So you guys ride for the rest of the day, stop and you have food, and kind of ride into the night. And the horses kind of tell you when they're done. Their pace, which had been steady throughout the day, they kind of slow down a little bit. So you guys decide to camp out for the night, and you do. And the biggest thing that you guys have noticed is that West Rock and the stockade are located pretty close to some bluffs and cliffs. West Rock got its name because it was the Western Rock when it was initially founded. You guys have come out of a mountainous, somewhat mountainous terrain into a more area that's got knolls and hills and things like that. But you find a safe place and you bed down and you travel for the next day, and the rolling hills begin to flatten and you start to see some trees and forests from time to time kind of pop up off in the distance, and then you get close and the path leads you around the forests, and then they thin out and then they dissipate. And on at the tail end of the third day, you guys actually see yourselves in, it's just flat everywhere you look. For those of us in America, it's Kansas. Do you know what Kansas is, Matt?
Yes, I know what it is.
It's flat and boring. We'll start there, and I feel like I've said everything there is to say. It's awful, but it's very flat, and it's, wheat fields and stuff like that. And you're in an area that is very similar to that. You see a lot of animals grazing. Most of them off in the distance. Every once in a while, you'll see a shepherd, but they seem to be maybe too busy to even talk to you. Busy with their chores. On the start of the fourth day, you load up the buggy, you get ready to go, and one of you looks down at the map and realizes that you guys are really close, so you guys should be able to see it very soon, and I'll pass it back to you guys.
Well, either I'm reading this map wrong or wishful thinking, but I think we're close.
I hope we're close. My ears hurt.
Can one of you, is one of you better at reading maps than me? Because I've been guessing.
I know the lay of the land and can translate that to pictures and see. And occasionally I'll take the map and he'll nod and he'll say, yes. Yes, we approach soon.
And Ulthane, you're driving. From where you're at, you can start to see what looks like established, maybe corn rows, farms, things like that. And so you're fairly confident that you are, these guys in the back looking at maps, they think that you're close. You know that you can pretty much see town. the path takes a big arching turn to the left through some cornfields, and as it does, now you can see buildings. Now you can see what actually looks like a city of some, you are not just driving through the wilds of Kansas. But yeah, you guys make it. You pass a handful of farms on the left and the right, and as you get closer and closer, these farms are almost more and more dense, but there's more and more people working the farms that are closer to the town, and they are extremely efficient. And the way you can tell this is because the rows, it seems like everybody is almost moving at, with precision of somebody going through and digging out a hole, somebody following in behind and throwing down seeds, somebody coming in behind them and moving the dirt back over, and somebody coming in behind them, kind of watering over the top, and somebody even coming in behind them with a tool that seems to be plunging it down, making sure that everything's set well. And you see them just kind of serpentine back and forth through these the different rows of the untilled land, and somebody even further away is sitting there tilling the land itself, kind of plowing this area so that what space isn't being used can be used. But finally, the path turns into a trail, and that trail, there's a hard break, and it immediately turns into this cobblestone. And up to the left, there's a stable.
Seeing who got here. Take us to the stable, and I'll hit my brother on the shoulder.
Yeah, he takes him to the stables.
Great. Yeah, you take him over to the stables, and you see a little dwarf man standing there, and he's kind of directing you in. And as you get closer, he then, is telling you to take a hard left, to take the horses and buggy, and to put it in. And once you kind of drive it in, a couple of assistants hop on, and they unlatch the horses, and they put like a wreath around them, and both of these wreaths are white flowers, almost like a lei. And he slaps them on their haunch, and they run off into this field area where you see a bunch of other, mostly men, some halflings, kind of following around and scooping up and there's horses all over the place in here running free, and they all have different colored leis on. And you see there's a couple other buggies stored here, but these people out in the fields are basically scooping up all of the horse crap, and someone's following them around with a bag, and that's their just basically taking the manure out so that they can go out and use it in the fields. They are very efficient here. And the little dwarf guy walks over, and he says, well, welcome to Horizon.
Oh, kinsman.
Boy, he sticks his nubby digits out. He says, name's Malloy. What's yours?
Gardain.
Gardain?
Yep.
Well, nice to meet you. Who's this here? And he's pointing at the other dwarf.
Looking around, seeing my brother talk to the other dwarf. He hops down off the wagon, and I go, Ulthane is my name.
Oh, Ulthane and Gardain. Are you two brothers?
A relation.
Perfect. Cool. And he, again, sticks his hand out to shake yours, Ulthane.
I shake his hand.
And he pulls a little, the size of a business card out of his pocket, and he hands it to you, Gardain. And on it, it's a picture of a dog, but this dog only has 3 legs on it. And it says, "This is the tavern, in case you need a drink."
Yeah, I know there was a reason why I liked you.
It wasn't because of his beard. And he kind of strokes it and smiles.
I was like, yes, you can trust a man with a beard.
Perfect. Oh, all right then. And he turns and he sees the other 2 getting out of the buggy, and he kind of pulls back for a second, and he looks back. He kind of straightens his clothes and walks over and says, "Well, what have we got here? Hi, I'm Malloy." And he extends his hand out to shake.
Look at his hand. Hi, Malloy.
Asian puts his much larger hand. It's kind of like a gorilla's, pure black, where almost pure black, where the rest of his fur is red or reddish brown, and the hand is arm is a lot larger than the dwarf's, a good deal larger. And he puts his hand above the dwarves, and lowers it so that it's touching the dwarf's hand, but obviously he can't shake because his hand is so much larger, and so the dwarf can like hold on to one of his fingers.
He sits there and he's about to grab one of them. He's, "No, I'm not going to kiss it or nothing. I just wanted to say, welcome to town."
And Cajun says, "Kiss? I would know one kiss." Cajun.
Oh, you know, kiss is like a smooch with your lips.
I know one. I know one kiss.
Boy, you're not really my type. What are you all doing here?
Come to
Pretending bun.
Oh, Mayor Bud, yeah. He should be in his office in town. What? Wait, are you guys from the guild?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Well, I simped a little too. I gave them a card for the bar. It's called the 3-Legged Dog. It's in town. You may want to pop in, get yourself some hamsies. That's what we call drinks around here. Get some hamsies, and then you could probably head over. My guess is Thinden's already pretty deep. Mr. Mayor Bun is probably already in a little deep, but I'm so happy you're here. They made an announcement. You're going to look into this little problem that we got. This these bugs are right fierce, I think.
bugs.
Looking over, when you say bugs, look at Cajun. Bugs.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, bugs. They're well, nothing has been solidified yet, of course. Which is, it's just a feeling I got. It's not like pests or roaches or the melon gnats, nothing like that, of course. Yeah, just you know, keep an eye out. I think it's bugs.
Bugs.
You can't just walk in here and say bugs. Inspiration to anybody who knows that movie
like
quote.
scratching his head, like going, bugs.
Boy, bugs. So we'll be taking care of your horses then. You can see, and he kind of points out to the field, and your horses have split up and kind of done their own thing, but they're the only ones with the white lays on. Says, I'll keep an eye on them since you guys are here to do us a favor. Obviously, no charge. We just you please get to the bottom of it. Till then, be safe, have fun, and like I says, get you some Amsies.
Yes.
And yes.
All right
I
then.
look over to the others and I'm like, Amsies.
He means he means a drink. So
Boy, Amsies.
yeah. Come on, Cajun. I'll introduce you to the fine art of drinking.
I have plenty of water here. Gathered some just
Oh,
this
no.
morning.
As you guys are walking off, you just hear Malloy's voice. What did he say? What? That's for the crops. He guys gets himself some Amsies. There's no way he's gonna get no Amsies.
I will pull my flask that's under my belt and I'll hold it to him. I says, "This is what I'm talking about. Take you a healthy swig of that."
So I'm just looking. So occasionally I'll take it and like looking into it and pull it up to his nose and take it, a breath of it and just be like, I'm not used to the fermented drinks. I come from the forests and have had this once. I didn't much like it.
Oh, well, I guess it's not for everybody, and I'll take a big drink and stick it back in my belt.
No offense. No offense.
None taken.
You guys are standing at the edge of town and kind of looking in. You are definitely in this weird space between where civilization and a suburban, well, not suburban, but lots of fields, farms, things like that are all around you. And you are in this weird middle ground that seems to be where they clash at the stables. As you turn your head towards town, in the middle of town, you can kind of see all roads lead into a building there. There are people on the streets, people carrying goods in baskets, things like that. So where to?
Well, we might as well find Mayor. Where'd he go? Fiddle? Fiddle?
Saban, whatever his name is, Mr. Bunn.
Yeah, Bun.
Cool. So, according to what Malloy said, Mayor Bunn is in that building in the middle of town. So you guys are walking through, you hear, again, the streets, it's mostly humans, dwarves, and halflings, men, women, everybody kind of roaming through the street, children, stuff like that, running through. You get to the building, walk inside, and there's a young woman sitting behind a desk. Hello.
Good evening. We're here to see Mayor Bunn.
Okay. Do you have an appointment?
Do we? I'll pull the letter out. Yeah, we've been sit here by the guild.
Oh, you finally made it. Perfect. Great. Take a seat right there. I'll buzz him, let him know, and we'll get you in there as soon as possible. She sits there and pushes back away and stands up from the desk and kind of brushes herself off, turns around, opens the door, and says, Mayor Bunn, you visitors. She turns around, closes the door. He'll be right with you. A couple minutes later, not as quickly as you might hope, but finally the door opens and you don't actually see anybody standing there. Finally, kind of rounding around the outside of this desk, you see a halfling man standing there, and he's kind of dusting his shirt off. And he says, hello, gentlemen. I am Mayor Thinden Bunn. I have been made aware that you are here from the guild. You guys received my letters?
Yes. Yes, we have.
Oh, perfect. Good. We're having a real mess of a problem around here. If you'll follow me back to my office, we can get down to what we know, and maybe you guys will be able to look into this problem and rid us of whatever is doing this.
Bugs, I hear. I hear bugs.
And he just kind of looks at you. Everybody who comes through, Malloy tells the same story too. I wouldn't trust him. He goes a little hard on the hamsies, as he likes to put it.
We not keep our horses with him?
Oh, yeah. He is great at what he does. And what he does is watch people shovel shit in a field. But that is what he is good at. He is good at watching horses and watching people shovel shit. That is it. Don't worry about
trust him.
As long as those are the things he's doing, you can believe every word he says. Everything else, he might have had a couple to drink by the time you showed up. It's hard to trust that.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Where are my minutes? Again, Mayor Thinden Bunn. And again, he reaches out a hand to shake everyone's hand.
Gaijin does what he's done the other 2 times and says, Gaijin. And we'll follow Mr. Mayor to wherever he's going to speak with us.
Cool. Yeah, he just leads you down a little corridor, and then finally into a room that opens up, and he goes and he walks kind of behind a very shortened miniature desk and everything on what would otherwise be a stool. To be honest, Ulthane, Gardain, this room is like perfect for you. You feel so at home in this space, whereas the 6'2" Tabaxi may feel a little cramped. There are no windows in here, so there is no warm place to lie.
I'm not happy. I will go find a place that I will then look for a place that I can like get between something, something that doesn't. I'm not standing in an open space. Then I will cram myself into a location, maybe between a desk and a wall or something.
Yeah, there's a couple of bookshelves that are a little tight for you to squeeze into, but I imagine you do your best to get in there.
Absolutely.
Perfect. And he kind of turns around and ushers everybody to sit, and there are normal sized chairs in here as well as smaller seats and things like that. Says, so I sent that first letter out to the guild, and then I had to follow it up because there's some odd occurrences. The main thing is some of our crops on the north side of town, the farmers there are reporting some major losses. And I don't know if you know, well, I'm sure you are familiar with Horizon. One of the foremost leaders in produce to service this area. That's a big part of our commerce. And so we needed someone to come out and take a look because it's been happening over the course of a few weeks now. Everybody here is a farmer or a trader. We don't have anybody who is maybe has the right skill set to look into it. So that's why we contacted you.
That was smart of you.
Yes, indeed. And that was the first letter. The issue was Grickland. He's one of the farmers. His farm was hit particularly hard. He came and brought it to our attention. We looked into it. And so that's when we sent the first letter. And then Grickland came back a day or two later, and he told us that he saw this odd formation out just beyond his farm, maybe a few miles away. And he thought maybe that was the purpose. So, and let's see, this was maybe a week ago. And so we sent that letter to you. This one on a, since it was, we obviously needed to audit our original letter, we sent it on a much faster horse to get it to you. But yeah, if I have already sent a messenger out to see Grickland to let him know you guys are here and that you're going to go talk to him. And maybe he can fill you in with some of the more precise details.
Cajun tries to clarify. So crops are missing.
Destroyed, ravaged, missing.
Destroyed. So not just gone, burnt, or
for the most part, it's not burnt. I don't want to say that it's being stolen because sometimes it's left behind. Certain crops seem to be unaffected, but other crops are completely wiped out, as in removed from the ground. It's very bad for business.
I would believe so.
okay. That is main problem. Are there other problems?
To my knowledge, no. But Grickland may know something that I don't.
Okay. And you tell him we're coming?
Yeah, he's aware that you have made it into town. He's a busy man, so yeah, I'm sure he's got a little bit of work ahead of him. If you wanted to head out, I'm sure he'd be able to walk over and talk to you about it. Usually he's done around dinner time. He doesn't have a bad attitude. He's just very focused. He's a great farmer. He's made us a lot of money, but he's not perfect around people. Maybe give him time to have dinner and then go see him after he's done working. He doesn't like to be interrupted, even when it's for his own good. I once watched him, his house burned down due to his own volition, but he was in the middle of dinner and he finished eating while his house was burning around him. So he likes to get done the things that he likes to get done, and then he would take care of other business.
Oh. You see Cajun trying to process this information. He's turned to the others and he's like, "You burnt his house down."
Well, maybe we wait and let him finish his food, I guess. Gives us a chance to get us some drink.
I have plenty of water. Oh, you. Right. Yes. Where should we rest? He says to the mayor.
Well, oh, this might be the tavern. I don't know if this is still the inn, but I have a card with a dog that has 3 legs for our drink. Not sure if that's where we sleep too.
Yes, it's so the tavern and the inn are under the same ownership, but they are separate buildings next to each other. You can easily find a room there. I'll make sure to send out another messenger and let them know that the rooms are paid for, but the drinks are on you.
Wait, I thought we had drink vouchers. Where'd they go?
They were for the horses.
Well, that's a letdown.
So we go to Cricklin's farm after dark?
Oh, just after dinner. And in fact, it reminds me, if you are going to the Three-Legged Dog, there's a performance tonight. Maybe you've heard of him. It's the great Zito. He comes here very often. He entertains guests and entertains us. We, of course, can pay for it because we have so much money.
The great Zito.
You guys have never heard of Zito.
I stop, just kind of wondering. Look at the door. My body turns, and I begin walking toward the door, just out the door, and I'm as if I know where I'm going.
Great. Three-Legged Dog. Enjoy Zito's performance, and don't forget, go see Grickland. Perfect. Good. Perfect. And he kind of claps his hands and stands up and brushes himself off and shakes your hands as you guys are leaving, to those who would. And then he sits back down.
Oh, yeah. I'll shake his hand, and then I'll go to the Three-Legged Dog.
I follow me, brother.
Are we all going to the Three-Legged Dog?
Yes.
Huzzah.
Well,
all right. What?
Well, I'm not going to speak for all of us, but I
Great. Yeah. So you guys walk out and you see down the road, there's actually a metal post sticking out of the side of a building, and on a wooden board that hangs down from it, it's the same logo that's on that card you were handed, Gardain.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So you guys make it over there. You walk in, and inside there's a guy sitting on a stool on a stage who's on the far side of the bar, who's just kind of plucking at a lute, and he's tuning it, and he's kind of left of center. And then there's somebody who's in the back, and he has 2 big drums right in front of him. And every once in a while, he'll sit there and play them real fast, and play in the center and play around the edge, and then play both of them, and then pull back and kind of step back and walk over to the guy who's playing with the lute. It's a medium crowd for fairly early in the day, as far as, for those of you who have been to performances. They normally start closer to dinner time, and it's just now, just slightly after lunch, but there's a little bit of a crowd, and behind the bar is a man who's sitting there, and he's kind of got a rag over his shoulder, and he's just wiping it down. And every once in a while, somebody walks over to him. He's clearly the bartender. He turns around, fills it up, and slides it over, and then they slide the money back over to him.
Say that again?
He turns around, fills up whatever, he's got a handful of
Gotcha.
taps, and then slides and comes back.
Your strongest ale.
Yeah, so he looks at you, and he takes a mug out, and he wipes down the inside real fast, turns around, and walks all the way down to the end of this row of taps, and he starts pouring it in, and you look at it, and it's almost like this opalescent black as it fills in, but it's got this real thick head on it. And he pulls it back and slides it down to you. And he says, that'll be a silver. Would you like to start a tab? It gives you discounts if you're going to buy. And he looks at you for a second. More than 10?
See, I knew you were a man after my own heart. Yes, start me a tab.
Perfect. Okay. All right. And he takes an empty mug and he flips it over, puts his hand on the bottom of it, and inside a blue smoke starts to fill, and then he quickly puts it down. And so now there's this light blue smoke that is right across from you behind the bar. What about the rest of you?
I'm doing the same as my brother. Get the ale.
Perfect. Do we put it on the same tab, or you start your own?
I look at my brother. I says, the same one. It's on him.
And he puts his hand over the top of it, and the smoke gets a little bit thicker, and he walks down, and he fills up the mug and comes back over. Same thing, thick head, kind of this dark, almost black ale.
Look at my brother, goes, it's on the higher ranking officer.
Well, at least you're finally coming around to accepting it.
Look at, we've not had a bar fight in a long time. Let's not start tonight, okay?
Up to the bar, stand behind one of the stools. Take the stool, move it out of the way, step right up to the bar. Milk, please.
And he turns around and he says, is that going to be on your own, what'd you say?
Milk.
Like from a cow?
If you have cow milk.
What other kind of milk are you talking about?
Goat. Sheep.
You want goat milk?
Please. If
What
you
kind
have
of-
goat milk.
What kind of milk?
Goat milk. Do you have it at?
And he turns and he whistles, and a little girl comes running around the corner, and he looks at her, and the girl looks at him and then looks at you and kind of stutters back a little bit. Go fetch Winnie, and we need goat milk for this gentleman. And she sits there and she says, oh boy, and runs back into the back. And then a minute later, you see her walking out with this, it's a milk jug, like throwback milk jug. And she's got it and it's full. And she walks over and she like holds it up and barely slides it onto the counter. And she just sits there and she's just looking at you.
My eyes are wide.
This is, oh, it's a pretty kitty. And she runs back away.
I am too astonished by I haven't gotten this much milk brought to me in years. I don't care that that's what she called me.
And finally, he slides down and he looks at you, Cajun, and he says, "Milk?"
No. You could fill my water skin.
What'd you say?
You could fill my water skin.
With what?
Water. It's what a water skin is for. Water.
Okay. And he takes the water skin and he unscrews the top and he sets it down and pulls out this little gun, and that seems to be connected to a hose, and he just sticks the head of it into the water skin and he just squeezes the handle, and you see this water start flowing through, and he sits there and looks at you, and the water skin begins to plump, and he pulls it out and sets it down, puts the top back on and says, "Okay, no charge for the water. Sir, Winnie's my favorite goat. Are you going to be wanting more of that?"
No.
Okay.
This is good.
Yeah, it's real good. Please be careful with the milk. No charge for the milk.
No. And the most talkative that I've been this entire week. No, I insist. And I slide over a silver. Almost with the implication that this is just as important to me as that is to him.
He takes it, and again he whistles, and the little girl comes running out. And he flips it over to her, and she catches it. She says, "Oh, me coffers!" and shoves it in a pocket in her shirt and runs off. And says, "So, you guys in town for the show? Zito's performing tonight here at my bar. Can you believe it?"
I look up from my first drink with my milk mustache on and I'm like, "Who's Zito?"
Zito, you haven't heard of Zito? Oh, he's huge. He's not from here. He's from far up north. He's a man. Well, when he first became popular, he wasn't. He was just a boy, but his voice is just beautiful. It's a very excellent singing. But anyway, so he comes in, and he's grown into a delightful performer. A lot of the songs he sings are excellent, but his most recent is perfect. He sings it in Elven, which, like I say, he's a man. But he sings in Elven, and so most of us really don't even know what he's saying, but boy, do we love it.
At the fact that you say singer, I sit back completely unimpressed. And when you say he sings in Elven, all of a sudden my ears prick back up with the unimpressed look on my face, and my critic mind begins to turn.
It's great. The name of his song is, in common, it's "I Am Zito." It's excellent. It's excellent. Don't worry, he'll be here. I think that the name of the song in Elven is Despacito? Yes, Despacito.
Oh!
He's from way up north, and he sings in Elven. It's cool. Anyway. Yeah, so you guys are here to see Zito. Great. As the bar starts to fill with ladies.
No, we're helping the farmers, helping with problems.
Where? So you guys didn't come for the show. Where are you from?
Well, we came from West Rock.
Ah, West Rock. What brought you guys all this way if it wasn't Zito?
Like I said, the problems, the Grickland's problems.
Ah, yes. Oh, Westrock. Are you guys from the guild then?
Yes.
Excellent. Oh. Well, good. Well, I'll tell you what. Are you guys going to be staying overnight? Are you staying a couple days?
We're here until we look into what we're supposed to be.
Oh, okay. Well, that at least is going to take one night, I'm sure. Grickland's pretty is pretty awful to be around all the time. But and this time he sticks his last 3 fingers in his mouth and lets out a whistle, and a little boy comes running around the corner. Yes, Dad. I need you guys to go tell Ma that we need to have a couple of rooms set up. These gentlemen are staying the night. Sure, Dad. The guy from the mayor's office came and he said that the rooms are paid for. As long as they're paid for, son, that's great. All right, cool. Bye. And he runs around a corner. So yeah, you guys are here. I wasn't kidding. The bar starts to fill up with people, and since all of our passive perceptions are not great, it takes you a while to realize that it's mostly ladies, a lot of women, fairly younger crowd, a couple older guys who are hiding in the back. And they do a dinner service and stuff like that, which they say you can put on your tab if you like. Well, I'd like to say that maybe you're dealing with the rest of the party members here, between the cat drinking out of this 2-handed jug and the other guys drinking some black sludge. You're in charge. But anyway, so it starts to fill up. It's a pretty good crowd. And after a while, the lights don't dim. They go around and they're putting out a handful of lights. And the only lights that are shining brightly are some candles that are lit in lanterns right behind the stage. And a door swings open, and out comes this elven man who's got this kind of bushy hair, and he's got these tattoos down his arms and everything like that. And the guy who was tuning up his lute earlier starts getting into it, and the drummer gets into it, and you guys listen to Despacito for a while, his favorite song, his new song. And
well, I can speak Elven. Is there anything like unusual about what is being sung?
The lyrics that you get out are, every time he gets into the chorus, it simply says, "I am Zito. Everybody here loves to hear me sing. I am Zito. I'm the greatest performer in the world." But everybody else is just like rocking into it, and you can see every once in a while they're all just singing the part, the Despacito. But that seems to be the only part that anybody's singing along with.
Right. Cajun
Yeah.
his forehead just crinkles, and he's looking over to his party members, and one eyebrow is raised, and he's just like
listening to this elf sing. I look over at the I look over at him. When he looks over at Ulthane, Ulthane is just like plastered out his ass. Like he looks over at him. He kind of sees the crinkle look on his face. Like I literally hold him the mug and go, "This is the only way this music is worth listening to."
Yeah, actually, if I could get a Constitution save from Gardane and Ulthane real quick.
$20, not nat 20, just 20. And Claude had to go downstairs.
Oh, that's right. Well, then we're going to say that Clyde failed. I'm going to make a character choice for him. And as you sit there and are looking at him and you're saying what you're saying, he kind of puts his hand to his ear like he can't hear you. And then he sings along with the music. It just yells out loud in kind of a drunken stupor. Despacito. Just right along with the rest of the crowd that sings that one line.
I kick him off his stool.
He quickly recovers and gets back up and goes back to drinking so that he doesn't know what I said. But yeah, so he performs for a while, sings a couple of songs. He gets done and walks out, and the drummer and the lute player kind of stay and continue to entertain the crowd. The bartender walks back over, and he was like, "Yeah, it's pretty great. It's going to make us a lot of money tonight." He should be back out for a second and third show a little bit later on, but and he kind of turns around and he looks out a window. He says, "If I had to guess, Cricklin's either going to be in here soon, or he might be ready to meet you guys. You should be done for the day."
Thank you. Go and see him.
So yeah, before you go though, we need to settle up this tab. And he turns around and he looks at this upside down mug, and it's just this. It just looks like a blue block of something solid inside this mug. And he kind of looks to the two dwarves.
I look at him. I go, "How much is the tab?"
And he lifts the mug, and this block kind of stays in a stasis for just a second and then just dissipates up into the air. And he's counting. He says, let's see, that looked like that was about 16, but I'm going to give you guys a break because I know how much. And he kind of salutes Gardain. Since you called him the ranking officer earlier, he kind of gives him a quick salute. Says, "We give a military discount, so we could probably settle this out for 10 silver."
I look at my brother and see that he's pretty much he's out. So I hand him a gold piece. There you go.
Oh, excellent. And he says, if you guys, I would probably recommend talking to my doorman. He could probably straighten you out a little bit before you guys got to go out and see Grickland.
No, we're fine. I'm used to us. I'm used to dragging him out of the bar. I literally grab Gardain by the rim of his armor, just dragging him out.
Says, "Oh, okay. Well, excellent. Well, then maybe we'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, you guys have a room that's paid for next door. You can go in there, see my wife. She'll be tending to the desk, and she'll just point you where you need to go whenever you get back."
Much obliged.
Perfect.
I carry my brother out on his shield.
Perfect. So you guys headed to Grickland's? Cool. So Grickland lived on the north side of town. You guys walk out that way. You get to almost that same sort of weird intersection between the rural and the urban. And as you continue on, you run into a little guy who's running down the road, running into town. And you ask him, directions essentially. And he points off in the direction and he says, "It's fourth farm on the left. When you hit the hay fields, you've gone too far." And as you look at his hand, he's pointing out the direction and you see it. You see this odd rock formation that is. It seems to be in a. There's an upward point that is hundreds of feet tall, and another plateau that seems to spark out from the side, shooting off, also in a rock. Realistically, I'll be real with you right now. It looks a lot like Pride Rock from The Lion King. Just to give you guys an idea of what this formation looks like. But it is, again, it's way out of place here, at least, especially for somebody who maybe is familiar with nature. This just doesn't seem to happen in these kinds of spots. These flat, everything's flat. What is that? But yeah, go ahead.
So how far away is it? Sorry.
You would assume that based on the sizes of the farms that you've seen, it might be about 10 minutes away to the farm. The rock itself is a couple miles away.
All right. Occasional turn to the others and say, that certainly does not look natural.
Oh,
We should go to the farm first, though. Let's see what he says.
all right. Anything else?
Not from here.
And I begin walking off.
Cool. So you guys make it to the appropriate farm on the left, and you see it. And this guy is growing all kinds of stuff. Most of the people have fields full of wheat, or maybe specialize in corn or potatoes, or beans grown out of the ground. You've even seen like grapevines and stuff like that. This guy has a small orchard. He has rows of corn. He has melons coming out of the ground. He's got all kinds of stuff. He's not just kind of a one-trick pony like everybody else. And then you see his house, which is a single-story, hay-roofed, single chimney stack coming out the top with a wooden fence going around the outside. And you can see inside that there are torches lit.
Well, I'm going to walk up to his door and knock on it.
Not another door puzzle. Yes. Knock on the door and you hear a voice. Hold on, I'm coming. Wait a minute. Who is it this late? And he sits there and the door opens, and standing in front of you is this behemoth of a man. And I say a man, that's not true. This orc. He's got these tusks that come down out of the top, that hang down about halfway down his chest. He's got on these earrings that are hooped inside of his ear itself. His hair is a big mohawk tied back in a ponytail. He stands taller than Critter, and this doorway, you can't even see his full frame. He has to turn sideways to walk out of his own house, but he is just this huge, beefy, pale green-skinned orc. All right. I don't think I'm going to be buying anything today, guys. Sorry.
No.
Not here to sell. We're here to help.
the farm's shut down for the day. I'm not going to be hiring anybody. Come back tomorrow morning if you're looking for work.
Not work. It's being paid for by the mayor. We're here about your losses.
Oh, you wrote a letter then. Okay. Yeah. Then that means you guys is supposed to be from that Heroes Guild then, huh?
Yes.
All right then, come on in. And he stands to the side. And offers you guys to come in.
I'll walk in.
And he sees you walk in and he goes, oh, almost didn't even see you down there. Sorry. And he kind of gives you a light shoulder punch.
Oh, don't worry about it.
And I'll walk in as well.
And he gets you guys to come in, and he's got a little room set up. He's got a bench-style couch lined up against one wall. On the other wall, he's got a couple of chairs. And then he's got this enormous, I mean, it is a great big chair. And he just kind of walks over to it and sits down in it. And this chair is so big that Gardain, Ulthane, you guys, if a horse is, you would have a hard time figuring out how to get up into it. This chair's the same way. It is huge. And he just sits down in it, legs drape over the side, and he's standing there. So you'll hear about my losses. What do you intend to do?
Take care of the situation. It's what heroes do.
And how are you going to do that?
Perhaps you could tell us more about your situation so that we can figure that out.
Well, some of the crops being destroyed, some of the crops being stolen, some of the crops being left alone. They seem to really be focusing on anything that's growing out of the ground, which might sound weird because most of it does, right? But I'm talking more like, well, things that grow out of a vine from the ground. My strawberries gone missing. The whole plant's pulled out. My cabbage, they seem to just take the cabbage itself, and they've been leaving me orchards alone.
When do they strike?
There hasn't been any sort of rhyme or reason to it. I don't know.
No, I mean like they come in the day, come in the night, come in the evening, come at dusk, come at dawn.
I can't say I have a sewing for myself, but so I would have to imagine probably at night, maybe if I'm not around or if I'm asleep. But I ain't never seen them when I'm out there working the land.
When was the last time they hit you? And where?
That's about, 3 days ago. They came out, and that's when they pulled up the strawberry plants themselves. It's a brand new field I had just tilled. We were going to make strawberry mash out of it. So try and sell it to the guy down at Three-Legged Dog.
Has there been any footprints? When you went to check on your crop, was there any footprints around? So you say it's a field, so they might have left some print in the dirt.
And in the spots that we tilled up, there are just some weird markings, but no footprints.
Weird markings. No one's been out there since you have, right?
Just the workers that I pay in the morning. They usually come around here because I got so much stuff. Can't take care of all of it on my own, so I hire some guys, get them out there. But they give me the same reports, and it's not the same people every day.
What markings are they was out there?
They look like thin, deep cuts. But the land, even some spots that we haven't tilled before, or at least I've never tilled, and I haven't paid anybody to do it. Some of that land looks like it's been tilled up. But like as I said, I don't know if someone's moving in on my land or what's going on. I just told them we needed to get to the bottom of this, and Mayor sent word to you guys.
How do you have you changed your fertilizer or used anything different?
Oh, just like everybody around here, I pick up my fertilizer. It's all locally sourced. It's whatever mix they give us. That's what we use. But everybody uses the same stuff. My crop seems to be the only one that's getting it.
So are you the only one that grows the vine based things like strawberry, watermelons, potatoes, carrots, cabbages? Are you the only one that grows these?
Now there's Hamrock. He works out on the west side of town. He does some cucumbers that come out of the ground. There's a couple of guys who do. I would never do it, but they let their grapes just kind of grow sideways, gets them all tangled. They don't taste right. I'm not the only one who does strawberries, and nobody else seems to have theirs missing.
Does somebody not like you?
Most of the people around here don't like me.
Well, then we should talk to all of them. They probably did this. Just from listening to you talk now, I probably wouldn't like you either.
The orc, I asked him, or the half orc, I should say. I asked him. I says, has anyone moved? So you say that there's been tilled ground that you haven't been doing. Is it a whole field or just a small plot?
I mean, there's not a lot of rhyme and reason to it. It's not very well done, so that makes me think that it's not necessarily somebody trying to push me out, but you never can tell. It just goes all over the place. So they're not even looking where they're tilling. Got no purpose.
Maybe we should go check, look at it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, brother. Perhaps go look at the field itself.
We could sweep the field.
Because if the people don't like you, then that probably means your workers that are working for you don't like you. And it's a whole different word of interesting.
But if this is the first time and he's been farming for God knows how many years, doesn't make any sense to me.
That's a good question. Has this happened before?
No. To be honest with you, and he stands up out of the chair and he kind of walks over to his north window in the room and pulls aside a curtain. It happened about 2 weeks ago, and then happened again about a week ago when that came.
I'll go look.
Peek out the window.
Yeah, he's pointing at that big rock formation. Says, I don't know if it was an unauthorized mining dig or what's going on, but whoever's working out there might be the ones coming and pillaging my crops.
Well, we'll go look at that for sure, but I don't. We'll try and find out some more information for you.
It might be the rock. I'm just saying. Because if it started when that happened, then probably they're stealing food or something.
Well, it happened once before. Before that was ever there. It happened the night that I first saw it, and then it happened just a week ago. And then again a few nights ago.
Well, let's go look at this rock. Maybe it'll all connect together.
Let's go.
Says, right, it's dark out there. How y'all gonna find anything?
I pat the orc on, pat the orc softly. I tell him, I said, "We're dwarves. We can see in the dark."
And he looks. And are you two dwarves as well?
I'm no dwarf. I don't know about going in the dark. I can see all right, but might be best in the morning, the break of dawn.
I see fine in the dark.
Oh, you're all dwarves. Great. And he had kind of moved his hand over to this helmet that had a piece of glass on the front of it, and he pulled it off, and then he puts it back up. I guess you'll be fine then. The north end of my farm is where you'll find some of those odd markings and where those crops have been disturbed. I'm gonna head into town, and I'm gonna lock up my place. Not that I don't trust you. We just can never be too careful. Random fires start around here sometimes.
Random fires?
I don't care what they told you. I didn't start it. And he stands up and kind of stretches his back out. He ties a little sash around his shirt and tightens it. Says, "All right, then, go take a look."
Oh, all right. As I walk toward the door opens on its own, and I walk out the door.
Occasion will look to the group as we're exiting the little house and says, "You want to do this tonight, really?"
Might as well before too much more time passes. We'll find out more.
Cajun, like, is it completely dark at the moment, or is it just like dusk?
It's getting dusk. There is a full moon up, though, that seems to be providing decent light throughout.
Thank you. So Cajun looks up to the sky and he says, I guess we can see. All right. Before he completely goes, he says, are you expecting any bad weather?
Bad weather. It's a beautiful night. I don't I don't think I see any freak thunderstorms headed our way. And he kind of breathes deeply through his nose. Yeah, it don't smell like rain to me.
Cation says, I'm from the forest, not from the open land. You would know better than I do, especially in this area. And he looks to the others and says, all right then. Well, if you want to do this tonight, you may as well do it sooner than later.
All right. So you guys walk out. He walks out behind you guys, locks his door, kind of gives you guys a wave and says that you guys can talk about it tomorrow. He's going to go in town and try and catch the second performance. And then he stops himself and says to drink, and then turns around and walks back into town.
That sounded like a good idea. But on to the field.
And so the first location that you guys come to are a few rows of trees that seem to go on for a little ways. Closer inspection, these trees are orange trees. After a couple minutes of walking through here, you get out into a few rows of corn then that are taller again than all of you guys. And you hear a little rumble. You feel a little rumble, and then it stops.
So Cajun would kneel down and put his ear to the ground and ask the group to stop moving for a few minutes.
Okay, you can roll a perception check with advantage.
All right. Um, 19.
So give me an idea of what Cajun's connection to nature is.
Okay. So really briefly, he grew up seeing the best and worst of his bloodline. His parents were part of a nomadic tribe, very peaceful. But when we were going through a mountain pass, part of our not our tribe, but part of our kind attacked and killed my parents. And the shaman of the tribe managed to get away with me, along with a group of others. And that shaman was the one that taught me about the primal desires of the of those that attacked, and taught me to commune with the animals rather than change into the animals. And so my connection is mostly to do with animals. I can read the signs of the land a little bit, but mostly it's just forest animals, being able to call upon them, and I have a deep connection with them.
And you said you got a 19?
Yeah.
All right. So with a 19, this is almost sensory to you. The first thing that you feel right away is almost like when you get a splinter. That's how you feel, is that you have a splinter in your connection, in your soul almost. And for a moment you sort of feel that, and then immediately after, it feels as though a splinter has been pulled out somewhere else. So you still feel like you have a splinter stuck in you, but then it feels like you had two, but now there's only one.
Whoa. And that's just by listening it to the ground. I'm feeling like I have a splinter or two. One was removed.
So I'm using the entirety of your perception. That's why I kind of asked about the nature of your attachment to nature. So I'm using it's almost like a sixth sense for the perception aspect, but it's a mixture of, the emotional attachment that you have to existence or life.
So what I say. Thank you for pausing. I feel like there's something deeply wrong with this land, and like there's a sore, like it's like a sore. And I feel it in my gut. I say aloud.
Well, that doesn't help.
Well, it helps some. It's clearly not natural.
Way they were going.
I dare say that this, it's not a natural creature that's doing these things. Even humans. I mean, I've not felt this way before, even when there was bad things afoot.
So you guys keep. Sorry, go ahead.
Did you maybe feel which way it was going?
According to that, it doesn't seem like it. Maybe I could stop closer, like if we're walking closer to the thing and see if it feels stronger. I would suggest that that's a possibility, but not from my initial read.
So you guys continue walking through, maybe trying to get closer or sense this better. And Ulthane, you're the first one who kind of breaks free from this corn, and you step out, and you're where you look down, and all you see are vines on the ground. But now you can see off in the distance again.
Yeah, he steps on out, looking, trying not to step down on the tilled soil, pretending the ground that the vines are on is lava. Until someone of nature persuasion that can know tracks and all that good stuff about the ground can take a look at it.
So yeah, the rest of you get out into this, I won't call it a clearing, but the next crop.
I don't know if this is helping.
So after a moment, I think you guys would probably all come to the same realization, maybe even at the same time. And let's even say that Critter, as you're taking a step, you kind of lazily don't even raise your foot all the way. And you realize that these vines are pulled out of the ground.
Or what?
Pulled completely out of the ground. Like they're not embedded. There are no roots. These are the strawberries.
So this is the field where the problem is. Pull out the flask. Drink some goat milk. Put it back. I'll bend over and investigate the ground.
Okay.
That's a nat 20. So it's a 20.
All right. So you see kind of the way these vines are sprawled across the ground. You see some of those deep cuts that were described. And what you find is that you do see a pattern to them. They're deep cuts that form X's. And everywhere there's one, you can see another one not too far away. Maybe 2.5 feet. And then to the right, you see another one, and they're kind of staggered. Are you proficient in survival?
I am not.
Okay.
I'm proficient in survival. I mean, we're all looking around and watching each other and trying to figure this out, right? Like,
I would say that since he saw the pattern in it, when he shares that information with you, these look like tracks, but maybe not something you're familiar with.
okay. I look around and see if these tracks that I'm not familiar with lead in a certain direction, or if they're all just crisscrossing each other.
So you kind of follow one of the trails, and once you know what you're looking for, they're all over the place. Once you get out into the grass, you don't see them.
All right. So what I would do is where one of them crisscrosses, like where there's an intersection, I would study the ground beneath and see if there was a hole or something like that.
Yeah, you don't find one.
Okay.
Let's see. But you do. Let's see. Critter, Gardane, and Cajun. You hear an odd sound. It sounds like clicking. Like
That don't sound good.
That's strange.
Clicking sound.
At the sound of that, I sigh and I shrink down into a kitten. That is
Okay.
2 of my side points.
Well, I'll look at my brother. Did he? If he didn't hear it, I was out there. Did you hear the clicking?
As soon as he says anything, I grab the handle of it. Looks to be like almost like a extended long hilt of a scimitar, and he kind of flicks his wrist and it straightens out into a pole. And then I look around. I go, yeah, whatever it is, it'll make itself known, and don't worry, I'll protect you.
No, I'm hiding.
Cajun watches this feline person change into a kitten or a cat, and
Okay, I'm still me. I look like a shaved cat that's really gone from 6'2" to tiny.
oh, it's just so that you're that size, not
Yes.
that you've actually changed. Okay.
I just look like a tiny shaved kitten now because of how tight my leathers are.
Yeah. So I watched that happen, and I say, well, you didn't mention this skill.
Shh.
Okay.
I'm right here.
-1 inspiration for not having a squeaky voice.
Cajun will sit onto the ground and wait for whatever it is that you're going to do, and he will survey the land and just watch and listen, especially listen, because he's heard the rumbling before and now these clicking sounds. So he wants to pay attention to the clicking and see if there's patterns and things like that. See if he can hear anything.
All right, so you give me a perception check. What is Critter doing? Is he just stealthing?
I don't like being with everybody else. So I am going to use my Tabaxi movement. Basically, all my movement is doubled for the round. So right now, I'm stealthing, so 40. I move 160 feet away from everybody.
So give me a stealth roll. Where
I
did you
move.
do this?
Well, let's see. No, I don't have that. So I can move half my speed where I stealth?
Yes.
Okay, I move 40 feet then.
Okay.
And
Go ahead and give me that stealth roll.
awesome. It's 20 total.
Cool. All right. With that 16 perception, what you hear, and this one is specifically hearing, that clicking sound seems to be out in the grass where it gets a little bit taller.
All right. I would slowly head in that direction. But
Why don't you let me go? Why don't you let one of us go first? We can't. There's no way we're going to be able to be quiet. So maybe we can be loud enough to bring it to us. So I'll try to get ahead to walk ahead of them, clanking all the way.
That's an interesting way to track prey. Being loud enough that they come to you. I haven't heard of a way of tracking like that. That seems a little bit counterintuitive, but if that's what you really want to do.
I kind of just laugh at my brother. And I go, well, he kind of flips the spear back into the handle, reaches around, grabs a hold of the warhammer, pulls the shield around, and goes, well, if we're going to be dumb, let's do it. And he walks with him. Walks with his brother.
So you guys walk about, I don't know, maybe 50 feet towards and you get to the point where you are right at the cusp of tilled ground and where the tall grass pops up. And I would say that, again, Gardain, you would hear a little bit of rustling. And then again, you hear the quick, just real quick, just two of them. And then from two other spots, you hear just one.
So I'm just going to keep going.
All right. As soon as you take your first footfall into the tall grass, the clicking picks up, and from all three positions you can hear just chatter. And you see this three-fingered claw swipe through the grass real fast at you, and it seems to have misjudged your size, and it swipes over the top of you but down in front of your face. And then, yeah, same thing from the other side. They must have been anticipating something else. And you hear one more time those clicks, and it starts to sound like it's moving away from you. Everybody roll initiative. I just had those. All right, so we want to put these guys first. One day I'll get good at quickly putting things in order. All right. So again, Gardane, you see another one of these claws kind of swipe up in the exact opposite direction. And it swipes in front of your face, but it goes over the top of your head. And from a completely... So this one's been going in front of you. Another one comes from behind. And it kind of clinks off of your armor. Makes a weird sound. But the weight of it, something you might notice, is it doesn't feel like a weapon of any kind. Let's see. So you're the only one there. Ugh. And so the next thing that you see standing there while you're, I don't know, equilibrium through the tall grass here, you see this weird, it looks a lot like that blade that Critter was holding, but it arcs forward, and on the back end of the hand, it arcs backwards. So it's kind of got this, I don't know, S shaped. And you see it, and you finally get a good look at it, and it's this chitinous grip that's holding the middle of it. And nice. And you don't see it, but this time something does hit you in the back of the head. Excellent. Take 8 slashing.
Well, I found it.
And Ulthane, Critter, and Cajun, you see leaping straight up is this body. It kind of leaps up into the air with its knees tucked underneath it, and it fully leaps out from this tall grass, and it is 10 feet higher. And you see it come down and land outside, and this moonlight has it kind of lit from behind, and you can't really tell what exactly its features are other than it has these 2 antennas that pull back, and it's got 2 hands on this spear and then 2 more hands underneath it holding on to these weird S-shaped daggers. And it's got these weird body plates at the joints, at the knees, at the hips. Everything gets real skinny, and then it bows back out. Ulthane, it's your turn.
He goes, you love fighting with a spear too. I go, good, good. He throws his hammer and his shield down and just takes off at a mad rush at him. You know, when he gets closer, that glaive springs out. And that is a 17 and a 15.
The 17 and the 15 both hit.
Oh, okay. All right. He takes 11 points of slashing damage as the spear cuts him across there, and he literally takes the butt end of the glaive and kind of like just slams it up into his gut. That'll be all I do.
So just 11 damage?
Yep, 11 points of damage.
Perfect. Gardane.
Alrighty. Let's see. How close is everybody to me?
I ran off, so I'm probably not anywhere near you unless I went in the direction of these things.
Which direction did you go?
I just distanced myself. You can decide.
Let's see. High or low?
Low.
All right, yeah. So you would be about 10 feet behind them. You would have moved forward.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna cast Bless.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
On us three.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm gonna cast it at second level and get me too.
Get you as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What does that look like? Or does it have a visual?
Oh, he just says something under his breath, and everybody that's really close to him, your weapon starts to glow with this rune.
A rune?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. You want to move or anything, Gardane?
No, I'm good right here being the bait.
Okay. That's an excellent healer. Cajun, your turn.
Really?
Really, really. Let's see.
Okay.
Yep.
So, not being totally prepared for this attack, Cajun doesn't have his shield equipped. And he looks around and sees these creatures bounding out of the grass, and he makes this whistling sound, and he holds out his hand, and just from somewhere in the grass you hear a flutter, and this bird just flies out from the grass and comes and lands on Cajun's arm. And you can see now that it's a woodpecker. And he holds out his hand, and the woodpecker starts to peck at Cajun's hand. And as it does, a bark substance just starts to coat his hand and then spread down his arms and over his body. And I'm casting Bark Skin as my action. And then I reach down and take my staff. And as I take the staff, this bark starts to coat the staff as well. And little insects crawl in and out of the bark that is on the staff. And it starts to just be alive with all of these insects. And as a bonus action, I'm casting Shillelagh on my staff.
Nice. You gonna move or anything?
I will get closer to the one that is visible now. I can't attack because I've used my action, but I'll get up close and personal with it. If I can make it that far. I was moving slowly towards the grass, so I'm not sure exactly how far it would be away, but I would move in that direction at least.
I would say from the edge of the grass, you're probably about 40 feet because you were investigating all of that stuff.
Sure, I'll move my speed.
Okay. Creator.
How far away from it am I?
From the one you can see, 15 feet, because it's not a straight line. It's kind of to the left.
Oh. Perfect. I will bonus action to, as the little kitten version of myself, I draw my small hooked blade now that's as small, that's large, that's as big as somebody's tooth. And as I do that and I grip it, I cut into my hand, and the blade just continues to force itself into my hand, almost dissolving into part of my hand. And when I pull my hands apart, it's almost as if this glowing green light just shreds from my fists, glowing out at this point only a couple of inches, and I begin to charge toward this thing that I see. And at the last minute, right as I get up to it, I go up to full size, and I just go to hit this thing with one of my soul knives.
All right, you can do that with advantage.
Okay. Sweet. I would need that. 18 to hit.
18 hits.
Sweet. That'll be 8 points of psionic damage or psychic. And my movement does not provoke attack opportunities from it. So I will continue with the other 25 feet of my movement away from it.
Okay. Is that all you can do?
Yeah, bonus move and attack.
I don't mean that in a negative way. That's
all my economy.
not is that all you can do? Is that it?
Is that it?
Cool. So all of you feel a rumble again. And this is something that all in the ground, you kind of get that sense. So now a second body leaps into the air and lands right down next to Ulthane. And this one has no weapons in his hands, but he comes in to try and give you a nice slash. And what do you say your AC is 17? All right, so he lands a hit. And it does 6 slashing, and then he goes to try and bite you as well. And his jaws clasp down, and you hear, but he misses. The other one that's next to you takes a swing with his chachka, and he misses and swings with the spear. And the spear does get into you.
Is it me?
No, it is Ulthane.
Oh, okay.
And it does 3 points of piercing. Ulthane.
Well, being no stranger to combat, he actually has a look of enjoyment on it. Let's see here. With the same one he's been going after, I roll a 14 and a 22.
All right. The 14 misses. 22 hits.
All right. So, well, at least it's a solid hit. He takes 13 points of damage.
Right.
And that'll be all I do.
Gardane.
Alrighty. I'm going to use my bonus action. Where'd it go? There it is. To cast Searing Smite on my hammer, on my axe. And let me. Nope. Can't do that. I'm just going to attack him. I can't have 2 concentrations going.
Okay.
Uh, 19.
19 hits. Are you aiming for the same one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Okay. 6 slashing damage.
All right. Anything else you would like to do?
Nope. I'm going to stay there with him.
Okie doke. Cajun.
All right. I advance the 10 feet required. And I swing my quarterstaff at the creature for not natural 20 to hit.
Okay. Aiming at the same one.
Yes, please.
Okie doke. Yep, that hits.
Because there's not really any others that are visible right now.
Another one had jumped out of the grass and is on the opposite side of Ulthane.
So, okay, so the situation is those two are on the one that they're attacking, and the other one is, like, unattended?
He is next to where Ulthane is.
But hasn't been attacked?
Correct.
I'll attack that one.
Okay.
It looks like the other two have got that. Oh, nice. So 12 points of magical bludgeoning damage.
Nice.
And I guess how this looks, the bark sort of splinters a little bit as the staff lands, and just insects just start crawling into the wound.
Nice. Anything else?
At this stage, 1 second. I've got the staff in one hand. I'm just gonna quickly look. Yeah. Is there any rocks on the ground where I am?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. So that will be it for the moment.
Critter.
All right. I'm going to continue going after the same one. I'm going to use Hone the Blade. Doesn't say that it actually takes any actions to do it, so I spend 2 psi points, and I gain a +1 attack bonus to +1 bonus to attack and damage for the next 10 minutes.
Okay, dope.
So move up to it, and I'll make attack and bonus, and then move away.
So this will put you within range of both of these creatures to move up to it, unless you attack the one that Cajun just attacked.
I'm going to continue going after the one that I had attacked.
Okay.
Unfortunately, let's see. My first attack is it's a 19 with the dice.
Hit.
So it's only going to be 5 points of psychic damage.
Okay, dope.
The second attack is a 4 on the dice, so it's going to miss.
Okie dokie. And so you're going to try and move away?
Yes.
All right.
I have the mobile feat, so my attacks don't draw. My movement doesn't draw attacks of opportunity from the ones that I'm adjacent to.
Okay, I thought it was just the one that you had attacked.
Can I not get to one of them only, or does it force me to go by both of them?
So to get to one of them, the one that you had attacked, the only way to get to that one is to be next to the other one.
Cool. Well, then they both got the attack, so I can move away. So whichever one I passed first would have been the one that got my first attack.
Okay.
And
all right.
That's all my movement, or all my turn.
All right. And again, you guys hear a little bit of a rumble. Everybody give me a perception check.
8.
10.
Somehow, little Gardane, after feeling the rumble, it maybe just forces your eyes to look around. But you look, your eyes pass over in the direction of that rock formation, and something odd has happened. The rock is not on the ground. It has begun floating upwards and forming itself into a more circular shape. It seems to be breaking itself apart and reforming in this circular shape, and it's floating upwards.
Are y'all seeing this? It's shaping itself.
I will give you guys the free ability to talk back if you are okay with... No, I'm not going to do that. All right.
I have telepathy.
The Thrycreen with just a hand... I gave it away.
We knew by now. So many times.
So
And
many
cricket
arms.
sounds.
Yeah, that's true. No secrets here in D&D. So the first one goes in to make a claw attack and misses on Ulthane. Makes a second attack, trying to bite down and misses. The other one is actually going to move towards, or if you got close enough to hit with the quarterstaff, are you using the reach?
I have a glaive, and yes, I am.
Yeah, Cajun.
Yeah.
How close is Cajun?
That's an interesting point. I hadn't considered a quarterstaff's reach when I did it. So let's just say, because I didn't think of it, I'm within 5 feet.
All right. Then this guy is going to try and take a stab at you with his spear.
And it doesn't have reach, by the way. Quarterstaff doesn't have.
I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Sounded like Ulthane. Are you going to impose a disadvantage or something here? Okay. So he goes in for the stab, and the tip of the spear runs into just square in the chest, and it sits, and the head breaks off, and it's almost like this spear itself just keeps running in, but it just shears apart. You don't take any damage. Your bark skin deflects this. Then he's going to come with kind of an uppercut shot with this Thrycreen, or excuse me, with the Kachka. And this one, kind of aimed at the same spot, does break through.
Sure.
And you will take 6 slashing.
All right. 6. Well, my bark skin does have a concentration on it, so I do need to check that. That might not be good. I only need a 10.
Correct.
Yep. I am just okay by the skin of my teeth.
Excellent. Ulthane.
All right. Well, the same guy I've been beating down. I roll, well, and now including my D4 that I remember that I possessed to get. 27 and 15.
Okay, both hit.
Doing a grand total of 19 points of damage.
Split those up for me.
Hold on, let me go back to my die roll. Let's see if I'm a D10. Okay. The spear does 12.
All right, you
Or the
drop
other-
that one.
Okay. And the other one, let's see, hold on, does 7.
All right.
Wait. Oh. Yeah. It's like say what my damn math is wrong.
All right. So yeah, so you drop that first one. How do you clear that thing out?
All right. Well, the first one in front, because there's 2 on Ulthane, right?
Yes.
Okay. So like he hits one of them, like almost like cutting him open, and then he just whirling the pole arm around, kind of like spinning the blood off of it, hits the other one in the gut with the butt end of the pole arm.
Nice. Do you want to move or anything?
Maybe shift myself to maybe I'm a little bit closer to the one engaging Cajun, but not, but still keeping the one that I'm engaging with currently close in pole arm reach.
Cool. So there was only 2 of them. You knocked one down. You can position yourself so that the one left is between you and Cajun, if you like.
Yeah. So long as I can still hit the one that was. I can still hit the one I'm currently engaged with.
Yep.
Okay, then fine. Yeah, totally.
Gardain.
All right. We'll look around and see how everybody's doing. If nobody looks too bad.
Although Ulthang's
Injured?
taken most of the damage so far.
Yeah, old thing.
he'll be all
like,
right.
dick.
How you looking? Oh, Wolfang, how you looking?
Oh, I'm scratched. I'm not even bloodied.
Oh, okay. Then I'm going to cast Sacred Flame at the grasshopper man that's still up.
Sounds good.
He needs to give me, I think it's a dexterity save.
I got a 2 on the dice, so unless you have an awful DC, I'm pretty sure he failed.
Oh, no, it's DC 13.
Yep, he failed.
He will take 4 points of radiant damage.
Nice. It has another effect too, right?
I think he gets no bonuses from cover, so I lit him up like a Christmas tree.
Cool. Awesome. You gonna move or anything?
Oh, I'll move to get in closer to give the grasshopper man more different targets.
Sure. So you move into the position where the previous Thrycreen would have been had he not been chopped in twain. And so now this guy is covered by 3 sides. Cajun.
Yeah, I will try to hit him again with my insect-ridden quarterstaff. This time I got a 22. Oh, minimum damage this time, which is 5 magical bludgeoning.
All right.
And I will speak, and I will say, in common at this stage. Actually, no, we've been speaking in common to each other, so I'll say in Sylvan. Trying to think of something to say. I'll say in Sylvan, if you leave this land, we will harm no more of you. And maybe they will understand me, and maybe they won't.
Are you going to move or anything?
Nope, I will stay right where I am.
That brings us around to Critter.
Got it. Critter is going to go running through and do the same thing this time, all focused on this one remaining target.
This would box this guy in when you get up to make your attack.
Okay. The first attack is 23 to hit.
Hit.
It's going to be 11 points of psychic damage.
Okay.
And the next one is a crit.
Okay.
And I have an 8 on the dice. So 8, 16, 17 points of damage, psychic damage.
All right. So you crit this thing, and you are rid of pest. How do you get rid of this pest?
After the, I'm glad I didn't understand what Cajun said. Come running off, and in my movement, slice behind one of its legs, and you watch it drop to one knee. And as I come running about, I grab it by its head, hook under its neck, use my momentum to carry around, spin across its head, completing a full circle through the chitin around its neck. And then when I land, I rip the head off.
Nice.
Standing up, still holding the head, drop it, pick up one of these Kachka things. Or I can't. I've still got my blades. So.
Yeah, and as you guys are standing there, once again it rumbles. And this time everybody looks up and sees it out of the corner of their eye, and they all kind of look the same direction. And that rock formation has lifted itself out of the ground, and it's turned into this circular object. And right as you look at it is the very moment that it crosses in front of the moon as you witness a lunar eclipse. And as it passes over the top of it and light is available again, you see this beast essentially come bursting out of the ground in this tall grass. Let's see if I can't give you a description. So this thing is big, 15, 20 feet tall. It's got these claws that seem to start at an elbow joint, these enormous pincers, and this helmeted head that stretches far back behind it. Walks about on four legs in front of you. It's got that big helmet piece, like I said, a few buggy eyes come across the middle, two pincers lean out, and then two giant, larger mandibles reach out above that, and it lets out this kind of screeching roar. And I think that's where we will end tonight. So, thank you everybody for being a part of our Eclipse game. It was great. We should be able to play again here in a couple of weeks. My name's Caleb. You have enjoyed some time in the House of Shenanigans. Thanks everybody for playing, and we'll see you next time.
See you.